Welcome back. Last episode you saw us build the carcasses for the workbenches. This episode we're hoping to finish the entire job. So the worktops have been delivered. They're sat in the garage waiting for me to struggle them in here. But with impeccable timing, also, this arrived. This is the distribution stuff, which I've been waiting for. So let's see what's in the box. Okay. So I've got 2 packs, because I want to do through in the garage as well. Delivery note. Okay. That's nicely laid out in there. Careful not to cut the pipes. Let's get cutters. Just do it proper. Okay. So we've got, I think it's 60 feet of pipe and 3 outlets. The outlets, which is exactly the right amount for in here. Pipe cutter. Six right angles. Various push-on fittings. Both types. I wonder if that'll fit into my regulator. That would be cool. Give that a try. And then in here, that'll work. Right. 3 T-pieces, which is the right amount, a on-off switch, which I'll use for the outlet to the garage, 4 couplers, different type of fitting. Oh, we've got a long one and a short one. Are they the same size? They seem to be. Okay. Three outlets, which will screw onto these chaps. Okay. So I'll start by assembling the outlets and then fitting them where we want to go, and then we know we're aiming for, I guess. So I'm going to fit these in the middle of each bench. I think just like that would be perfect. So it's easy to get to, but you're not going to bash into it. Right, screws. Okay, let's see if we can take this connector off and just have it a push fit one and take one joint out of the system. Got the right sort of spanner. So now we're just going to pipe up this first outlet. Go through the hole prepared. There. Okay, I might run around and put some P-clips in later, but one down, two to go in there. So another T-piece there. I think that'll end up getting screwed to the workbench when it's to the countertop when it goes in there. I've fitted the stop valve, or a stop valve, here, so I can get at it quite easy and turn off the air in the garage when I'm not using it. Couldn't find any nuts and bolts, so it's just held in with a bit of welding wire for now. Hopefully they'll turn up. Okay, moment of truth. Okay, that's the compressor up to about 10 bar probably. I've gradually increased the pressure in the pipes. Couple of hisses already. Let's close that down again. So I've got a leak in this T-junction and right at the end. Yeah, that wasn't in properly. Okay, is that better? Let's see. Okay, seems a bit better. Work up the temp pressure a bit more. That's 4 bar. As you can probably hear, there's a school just outside. I think it's playtime. I can't actually hear the air. Interestingly, this one turns. So that whole thing turns. This one doesn't. So I think that might be the problem. I broke it assembling it. Nah, that can't be true. turn it back on. Seems better. Okay, I think the only leak we've got now is the orange pipe going into the regulator, which I will probably replace at some point. That was just something cheap that came with it. But it's fine. Excellent. Yes. Okay, so I'll screw that on, put the pressure back up, and then make sure we've got air coming out wherever we want air to come out through the tools. Okay, so that's the air lines done for now. I've got to extend it into the garage, but that can wait until the workshop's finished, or more finished at least. Now, tidying up and then putting the worktops on. Worktop number 1. Whew, good exercise. Let's try not to knacker the wood before we start. Welcome back. So the next job is fitting this steel plate, which I use for welding and hot works and that kind of thing. It's a 3mm thick plate. On the back, I can do this. There's a place where I can connect the earth of the welder, and then I just put whatever I want to weld on top of it. So the way I'm going to fit this is by using these old legs that were from a previous workbench, and first of all pulling out all the nails and horrible things, or cutting them off, and then dropping them down so that by cutting a notch in them so that the plate sits flush with the top of the worktop. So let's get on with that. Safety, and let's be honest, fashion first. Sadly, the bits of wood are a bit too big to fit in the bandsaw, which would have been perfect for doing this, so I'm just going to do it by setting the chop saw to the right depth and then just moving the wood along until I've got rid of all the bits I don't need. Well, that all got a bit complicated and annoying, so plan B, I'm going to use these offcuts from the workbenches. I've got 2, and route little recess on each end, or a rebate, so that it drops down the 3mm I need to do. Hopefully that's going to be a lot easier. Should have thought of it first, but I guess this is how I can tell that I'm not a professional at this kind of thing. So, the router I'm going to use. What we'll do is I'll set the depth from the worktop to the top of the plate, and that should be exactly what we need to remove. Which of course is, no, that's not right at all. Stupid boy. What I actually want is just to remove the 3mm. Yep. So if I put this under the plate, and just use that to set the depth. It should be absolutely perfect. So I'm using the chop saw just to clamp the wood down. I think I need some bigger G-clamps for this bench. We can figure that out at a later date. That's then fitted in place. The next thing I'm going to do is, how thick is that? A bit too much. Can use the bandsaw for this. I'm going to cut some cross pieces here. I need to have a hole for the welding stud to drop into. That lines up quite nicely. What it would do if I put the bits of wood the other way around. That is good. So what I need to do now is set the bandsaw up to 31. So that's the bandsaw set up to 31, cut. I'll put it on high speed because it's wood. Now to cut them to length. Okay, everything fits. I've temporarily screwed this one down so that I'll get the right width. I'll drop all these into place. Okay, next job is fitting the electrics. I'm going to use this ducting system which works with Legrand Mosaic, which are these little chaps which just click in. I've got a bunch of power sockets and a couple USB chargers as well, which is neat. Well, I hope they're neat anyhow. I'm actually going to fit these upside down because for a straight out connector it doesn't matter, but for a right angle plug, I think it'll be a bit tight to get it in. So I'll fit them upside down, the cable won't be in the way. Let's crack on. I couldn't find any corner pieces, so I'm just going to cut it 45 degrees and then I'll 3D print a cover. I want to be able to turn the whole bench off, all the electrics in here really, from a single point. So I got one of these from Amazon. It's a interrupt switch, or I think it's a magnetic latching switch, I think you call them. So there's a magnet once you start it. There's a magnet holds it on, and then if you lose power, it doesn't come back on. The idea being that if you've left a tool running, or switched on rather, go and find out why the power's gone off, turn the circuit breaker back on, whatever, it then starts up and can cause damage or injury. So this won't turn back on until you push the green button after you've lost power. It's also an emergency stop if anyone's working in here gets into a bit of difficulty. It didn't come with a back box. I got it, as I said, I got it from Amazon. I think it looks like a standard US standard box. I probably could have found one, but what I did was actually 3D printed this. It didn't take long to do. Well, it didn't take me long to do. The printer does it without any supervision. But the advantage of designing it yourself is I didn't have to find one. Plus, I could put the brackets where I wanted them, so it sits nice and flushish with the top of the bench, where I'm going to fit it over there now. Okay, let's tidy up a bit and then start figuring out where I want to put the various tools. Kind of the exciting bit, isn't it? Well, it is if you're sad. So I think that's the layout I'm going to probably go for. So I've got drill and power sander at this end, because I think those are the only tools Jane, my wife, will probably use. The chop saw in the middle. I've got everything dressed back a bit so I can get longer pieces of wood and metal, whatever, up on there and cut it without crashing into stuff. And then bench grinder, guillotine and bandsaw. I think that'll work. Might swap I'll swap the bench grinder and the guillotine over, because that'll give me a bit more space around the bandsaw. Probably all change before I fix them down, but that's where we're starting. I'll go over the top of that works. Welcome back. The electrics have now been done. I'm happy with the work that was done on that. All looks good. So one of the last jobs at this phase is really to seal and protect what are real wood worktops. So with a bit of research, it appears the best way to do that is first of all seal them with boiled linseed oil and then simple wax polish. And I think the idea is then that, you know, if you drop glue on it or whatever, it'll just flake straight off. If you do more damage, obviously it's sanders and resealing and things like that. So let's get on with that. As you probably know, linseed oil can get quite hot when you're applying it. So I've got a high-tech solution, which is a bucket of water. So if the rag gets a little over warm, and certainly when I've finished it, I'll throw it in there. Let's get on with it. So I think we'll call this the end of the first bit of the workshop project. What's left to do is put a proper dust extraction system in over there. At some point I want to put a nice ceiling in, or nicer at least. Equipment rack or storage rack over there. But I think it's good enough to get us started now. So thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and see you on the next one.